results against Space Station. Small margins. Small margins are the difference in Swiss.
We know that Falcons perform well at European events. You were talking earlier on, Johnny, about how G2 maybe not quite so much. Falcons making their debut over toward... Oh, wait a minute, and then we're starting number one. Right, well, that is probably the worst possible start for James Cheese.
I mean, this is the problem with, this matchup in particular. Falcons are so mechanical, they're so fast that James Cheese have to play faster than they're comfortable with just to keep up. Their Falcons are a very aggressive team. Karmine Corp not so much. They're a bit more of a defensive team, so I think that matchup wasn't actually as bad for James Cheese on paper. As Karmine Corp were going to sit back and let them do their thing. That's not what Falcons are going to do. They've shown this time and time again in the region. They love to be aggressive. That's a great counter though. Khaled actually forced back. Fantastic pass out of defense, but it is saved by the quintessential defender of Team Falcons.
So Falcons, they're up against a little bit of offense here. You get rid of it, but their previous results at European-focused majors were in Stockholm, which was probably the most different major we will ever have, so it's hard to sort of judge people off that one, but top 8 for them there. Grand finals over at London. What can they do this time around? Can they go that one step further? Okay, does get rid of it. It's Ahmad, who beats the ball. Oh, Khaled though. Oh, Ahmad's gone so early. Look for the got the second touch as well. It's difficult to shoot from there for anyone else on Falcons.
It's interesting to note that Ahmad has changed to the Octane. He started off today in the Fennec, switches it to the Octane. Didn't look like he was fully comfortable in the series versus Space Station earlier, wanting to speed things up a little bit, get mechanical. Against James Cheese, who, by the way, are redirecting the ball very nicely in the midfield, creating a bit of chaos for Falcons to have to read. One other thing to mention is, of course, the legendary demo man himself, Virtuoso. Yes. He's still been playing that style every now and then, and that's something Falcons will be aware of. They've got to pay attention to him moving forward. I think that respect that he's getting by just being advanced forward in aggressive positions is forcing Falcons to be a little bit more careful at challenging the ball. They don't want to get flattered out of the way.
For a lot of people as well that have followed Virtuoso's career, as he is now called into action, this will feel like, especially for him, that's something he deserved a while back. Part of a large amount of players that unfortunately saw maybe their best results during a time that we had no lands.
Yeah.
You know, up there with Endpoint, really getting a lot of great results, regional wins. Results that would have easily seen him not only going to majors, but being within an outside shot of getting quite deep into those brackets. He will see this as his opportunity.
If you just look at how James Cheese are playing, they're able to contest the vast majority of the plays that Falcons are making here. Yeah, Falcons look like a quicker of the two teams. Khaled's up a long time before that ball reached him. Still well dealt with by James Cheese. They're just controlling the play here. No panic despite the 1-goal deficit in the first few seconds.
They're not panicking defensively, but they are kind of seeing ghosts at the moment when it comes to getting rid of the ball. There's a lot of power clears that aren't really troubling the Falcons at all at the moment. It's just handing away possession. Really much gain, so James Cheese on the transition will want to be significantly more efficient. So Khaled, leaving it for the time being, brings in his teammate off the backboard, and that's off target. Falcons having all of the offense, but they will want that second goal.
Oh, that's a great chance for Virtuoso. Double just narrowly missed. He wanted a precise touch on that one. Both teams starting to up the aggression when it comes to aerial plays. Quick follow-ups on lob passes in both directions. Another chance for James Cheese. They are being presented opportunities. This is a very back and forth game. Territorially, it's now almost bump onto Khaled. He shrugged it off pretty well. This is a great look for James Cheese, who are able to create opportunities. They're fighting for that midfield. They're not just slumped in defense, stuck in goal, waiting for Falcons to miss. It's end-to-end stuff.
Just every time you see Ahmad there, and you see him there a lot as well, like it is just an outright trademark of him. I'm gonna go for those redirect plays. Not able to find one that time around, but now it's realized. Almost found it, as though Khaled had to not only get there but avoid Virtuoso. 55 seconds. James Cheese ramping up the pressure. One demo in, realize. Off the side, Ahmad gets rid of it, and it bounces over the top of realize as well, who once again can't find an opponent.
It's been well played from Falcons in terms of dodging those demos, shrugging them off in the last man position. But James Cheese really bringing the fight to them. I keep mentioning, they are producing chances. They're not just half chances. These are very realistic chances to score. And still, as the game comes to a close, they're pressing forward, really up the aggression, suits the time that they've got remaining to try and look for the goal.
There's a bit of time to work with here for Kami. Goes off the wall, good challenge. Realized couldn't cross the ball properly. That means he's lost the challenge. Is that the end of the game? No, Virtuoso palms the ball away, but they've got to keep this ball in at least some sort of playable spot. Realize Kami to aim for. That's a lot of work to do. Virtuoso keeps it alive.
Well, they're doing a great job keeping this alive. Had to hit it into their own backboard, but how about this back pass from James Cheese? DRK's had enough, lunges in, and confirms the Game 1 win. But just like the Karmine Corp series earlier on today, James Cheese able to hold their opponents to 1 goal. Unlike the Karmine Corp series, they weren't able to outstrike their opponents, but they were able to match them. Completely even in terms of shots, and that's not usually a good indicator for which team had more pressure than the other, which team had more realistic chances to score. I think James Cheese really matched Falcons in that regard. It was only that 1 goal at the very, very start of the game. The Falcons were able to capitalize. After that, James Cheese were into a good little rotation.
Yeah.
I think this is far from Falcons' top gear, but so far so good for James Cheese.
Well, it's difficult for Falcons to really hit top here because they are an incredibly quick team. They love playing like at the outpacing game. Like if you're willing to go for it, they are just as willing. James Cheese aren't in that position right now. They've been happy to just go, all right, your turn, we'll wait for our turn. We're happy. We don't want to go and challenge you mid-air. We'll just wait for you to play your game and see if you've got the mechanics for us right now. Falcons not hitting their mechanics. They've not really gone to the levels that we expect and know that they are capable of doing with the individual plays, with the mid-air passing plays. And that is kind of coming from the fact right now that it's difficult to outplay anyone that's not going for you.
Well, you know, James Cheese picked their battles very well, and you know, they saw a few ghosts, like you mentioned, in defense when they're maybe giving the ball away a bit too early, but I think they held their own brilliantly when Falcons are coming towards them. They were, you know, they were forcing out plays. They weren't just lunging out of the game. I think they've communicated very well. You know, timing of their rotations. When one player's out of the game, the other two are slowing it down. When 2 players are out of the game, the other player's really slowing it down. But once again, they have conceded early. You know, it stayed this way the entirety of game 2, or entirety of game 1, but yeah, a bit of an easy goal to be given away inside the first 16 seconds.
They've ruined the point I wanted to make, because I was just going to tell engineers, go, I want to see what James Cheese can do with a game that stays even for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
The same problem that they had against KC, which is the goals happened early against them. The opening goal was in the opening 45 seconds of game number 1, which you said was their best game against KC. But again, no massive threat has necessarily happened, especially on a team like Team Falcons, like KC, who defensively, you need to do something. They are not going to give you a freebie.
Yeah, it's such a tough draw, but that's what happens when you don't take those games when they're presented to you. When you're getting 9 shots to Karmine Corp's 4 and you're losing, that's on you. You've got to be more accurate. You've got to be more clinical. And then maybe you wouldn't be playing Falcons in round 2, but that's not what happened. They are playing Falcons in round 2, and it looks like a very similar matchup against a team that many think are going to make a deep run in this tournament. And actually have started off today with, I think, decent form, but that's going to be 2-0. Khaled crunches it into the middle. Ahmad not going to be denied from that range.
Oh, James Cheese, we've seen how good you can be on the rotation. I think it's time now to start breaking out something a little bit more goofy, because you're going to have to try and catch Falcons out now, who will happily just sit on this 2-goal lead. Falcons, whilst they haven't run away with this, it's still comfortable. They've not had to step up a level yet.
I think it's an interesting one, because some players might not have been comfortable in the positions that James Cheese were putting Falcons in. I think Khaled did a really good job on a couple of the saves in game 1, where he was directly under pressure from a Virtuoso trying to bump him as he's making the save. That's not the easiest save to make when you've got Virtuoso on you, so credit to Falcons for defending when they needed to defend, keeping the clean sheet in game 1. Now still clean sheet in game 2 as well. But yeah, James Cheese could do more. They could really push themselves to the limit here, test Falcons' defense as much as they can. They've very much been focusing on recovering, rotating. Is that really how you beat these top teams? I'm not sure if it is.
I wonder as well, we are also after James Cheese's first goal of the tournament.
Yeah.
That is the big thing to look at the moment. They've already been perfect swept once. You don't really want the narrative going into the next round just being, are you going to get perfect swept out of the tournament? Please, please no.
They've done a reasonable job. Every game's been close in scoreline. They've yet to fall behind by more than 2 goals.
Yeah, they've not conceded 3 in any of their matches against KC and Team Falcons.
But yeah, like you said, they also haven't scored, so it's not ideal. You want to be testing the goalkeepers more often with difficult to save shots. I mean, they are getting opportunities, but they're half chances for the most part, with maybe a couple of realistic chances sprinkled in, but no absolute open nets because someone's outplayed 2 and given an open net to their teammate. There's always one more man to beat because James Cheese are not sending everyone on any play.
This is the one. I want to see, this either ends with a 3rd goal for Falcons or James Cheese score. I don't want to see this settled on at all. Maybe not yet. Maybe with a minute left, start fully going for it.
Yeah, I think you're right. At this point, they'll be just as aware as we are that they have not scored yet this tournament. And yeah, they're looking competitive against some of the best teams in the world. Well, they want to go and get a goal. You've got to go and score 1, especially when you're down by 2. You just got to go for it because you're not going to come back just out-rotating a team. Well, that's a good chance, but again, the shot is just not quite good enough. If that is going to trouble a goalkeeper, it needs to be a touch faster, a touch more accurate. Instead, just a routine save, and then Ahmad doubles it in on the counter. The routine rebound for him.
This is not really how I wanted to say this is kind of what I wanted. This is not how I imagined the 3-0 happening, but Cheese did at least have a couple of looks on that one, but for Falcons, they're sort of taking out their frustrations of the last round on James Cheese. And Virtuoso!
Oh!
That's number 1!
They've done it!
They will not be perfect swept.
The close cheat kickoff just goes slightly their way. Ahmad looks like he was
opened the door for them.
He thought he was kicking out to the left there. There was an initial movement of the ball that way, but then another touch from the kickoff actually stabilized it, and Ahmad missed. So James Cheese get their first goal directly from the center circle. About as close of a cheat as you can make without the ball moving. And yeah, risky kickoff there from Falcons after being quite disciplined in every other aspect of the series.
I just looked at Ahmad's camera after that. He just like raised his right eyebrow like, huh? Huh? I don't really know what just happened there. So, 2 more now. James Cheese, you've got what you want. Now we get greedy with it.
Well, here we go. You've got to just absolutely send this.
Hey!
He makes it 2.
All right, now you're in the tournament.
I love that he goes for this as well. You've just got to beat the man at the near post. He knows Khaled's there, but yeah, just take a shot. Just send it on target. If Khaled flips in the way of that and saves it, so be it. But enough of this, like, plain safe Rocket League James Cheese. There are 2.
The old James Cheese puts it off the backboard.
Yeah, you know, it just plays the safe touch, but no, they've just got to go for it more. If they've got half of an opening, slam the ball into it. Here's Realize now. He doesn't have a flip to work with. But they're, you know, once again, they're finding themselves in positions that they can actually work with. Khaled's not going to have easiest collection here, but he does well, finds Ahmad. So now there is time for James Cheese. 1 goal, okay, no need to rush. Will they get 1 more chance? I think probably. There's a decent one.
That's the sort of one I want to see Realize. We know Realize has got the mechanics for that.
Yeah.
In the perfect position.
Yeah, just all in. Just let's see the big aerial play all in. Try and beat the man in front of you. I mean, it's got to come now if it's going to happen at all. A little bit of a double commit there from Falcons, but not too much. Oh, here we go. Cammy off the ceiling. Ahmad's going to walk it clear.
And Ahmad is happy to see every second go down. 1, 2, 3. How many flip resets can you get? The benchmark's been set by that one. And the ball does hit the floor. So a bit of a scare towards the end of the game for Team Falcons. But they have got it. And James Cheese looking to be reformed for our next game.
Yeah, very careless 4th kickoff of the game from Falcons. They're up 3-0. You don't need to go for another risky kickoff, close cheat, and a boost grab up in the back corner. You can just leave somebody closer to the net and just protect that 3-goal lead. They just lack discipline there just for a moment. I think they got far too comfortable in a 3-goal lead and forgot that, you know, they are playing against players here who have, I think, overall stepped things up to a level that we didn't expect. I mean, this is a 1-0, 3-2 series in terms of goals scored in each game. It's actually quite close. If you ignore the gameplay, just look at the score lines, you wouldn't be wrong in thinking this is a pretty close series. I mean, yeah, Falcons look like they're that level above, and they're not being forced to play at the peak that we know they have. But I'm still impressed that James Cheese are able to do this in such a short turnover between getting here and now playing against some of the best teams in the world.
I think what's important right now for Falcons is that I don't think there's a realistic level where we're really going to push the idea that James Cheese can win this. However,
can they win a game?
Falcons need to get all 3. Like, they don't want to be dropping a single game here because that ruins their seeding for a lot of these future rounds coming up. You know, we're not just talking about round number 3, we're talking about round 4, round 5, because every time we get to round 5, there's always that game. There's always that one that we look at in the bracket and just go, you're joking. One of these is not making it through to top 8. Falcons don't want to be that team. They don't want to be there.
They're in a good spot right now. You know, their one loss is a 3-2 loss, best loss you can get. And if they can sweep this, they're in a fantastic spot. They're going to have a great seeding if they just keep on taking games, taking series. By the time you get to those round 4, round 5s, they're going to have favourable matchups all the way through. It'll be another quick goal now for Falcons. Ahmad versus Virtuoso. Khaled's there to help him in. Yeah, Vert wasn't sure if that's a shot or a demo or a pass. Couldn't cover all 3.
The idea of a 1v1 against Ahmad is already pretty unfair. The fact that Khaled was there, making this a very unfair 1v1, if I was to be honest. Yeah, poor Virtuoso didn't really stand much of a chance.
It's really smart of Ahmad to not 50-50 the ball there. So the only way that it really goes clear of Khaled is a 50-50 bouncing into one of the corners. So Ahmad actually left the ball behind him, went for the bump, because he knows then Virtuoso doesn't have any momentum of his own. How is he going to generate a clear from that position? Well, he's not. The ball's just going to stick around in the middle. Khaled's coming in behind me. That just guarantees the goal. Now, if he went for a solo play, maybe Virtuoso reads it and saves it, and then the ball's clear, and Khaled behind him isn't able to influence the play. So it's a really smart play by Ahmad, turning a 1v1 into a 2v1, and really upping the odds with his team scoring.
Also, because I'm someone that likes rhythm, likes repetition. Not the repetition that James Cheese wanted, but they have again conceded in the opening minutes. of all the habits you can have in this world, maybe not one of the ones I would recommend. Oh, Ahmad, Kami's by himself. Oh, how did Kami get there? That was cheeky, and he still got some contact. Ahmad looking for 2.
Oh.
Yeah, that was with authority.
He slots it. Khaled just getting a big dunk on Kami, and Ahmad read that ceiling downward bounce. Just pull up the ball top corner. Falcons, you felt like at some point they were going to run up the score. Looked like it might be game 2. Will it be game 3? This time that close streak kickoff does go their way. I mean, somewhat deals with it, but only as far as Ahmad. This is the problem. James Cheese consistently found themselves in this tournament. CRK, a lovely little stealing challenge there in the recovery. Take away any danger from that play. Ahmad, multiple resets. Going through that top corner. Actually leaves the ball to bounce into the middle. He didn't want to crossbar pinch that clear. Transition from James Cheese is they're connecting the passes. It's just that final touch is usually the one that's lacking.
For me, it's like they're shocked and surprised that they made it that far. And then it's like the lack of trust in their own gameplay and the fact that we know these players. You know, you look at any of the names on James Cheese and you think, all right, you've got the mechanics right there, but they don't want to use them because they're just there and they feel like, all right, well, we're not going to see this too often. We might as well get a shot on target.
Yeah, I think in this kind of matchup, it is difficult to be confident. You're up against Karmine Corp to start the tournament. Now you're up against Falcons. These are tough matchups to look at.
Welcome to an RLCS major.
I think next round, if that's where they're headed, if they are going to lose this one and head into the 0-2 round tomorrow, that could be the one where actually a James Cheese look across the field and they think, yeah, we can beat that. But, you know, you can say it all you want, but believing it's a different thing entirely. It's so difficult to look across the field, see the nameplates TRK, Ahmad, and Khaled, and think, yeah, we can beat those guys. Not like I'm sure they're telling themselves that, but Falcons are playing a great event, and Khaled's scored a triple tap. They are starting to control this one, and a little grin there from Kami, I think tells you all you need to know. I mean, I think they know at this point that is just world class from Falcons. Nothing that you could do against it.
I'm looking at TRK as well on that one. He was very happy with that goal going in, because whenever you see your teammate do that, it's that realization of, yeah, that's in my corner. That's the firepower I'm working with for this tournament.
Yeah, no, perfect. I'm sure that Falcons...
Oh, no way!
No, you're joking. The free jump play started to come in. It's just like that last game.
He needs to be upset with Kami for saving that.
Absolutely. That was a brilliant passing play. You know, I think Falcons will be disappointed they've lost the space station earlier, but when they look at the final standings of the day, I think they'll realize they're actually in an excellent position at 1-1. It's not possible for anyone else at 1-1 to have a better win-loss differential than what Falcons are about to have. So this is pretty good for them. That'll finish them off top 5 or at least 5th equal for the day. And of course, Swiss just need to get top 8, so they're in the mix. James Cheese, unfortunately for them, currently headed towards the worst possible scoreline. 0 game wins, 6 game losses. I think there are positives to take away from today, but yeah, they just say they can't get that last touch on target enough of the time. It's the crossbar again.
I think that might actually be going for them is that they're very unlikely to be the only team. We've got quite a few teams coming into this at that 0-3 record.
It's true. Yeah, they could be one of maybe 3 or even 4 teams.
Oh,
they got one.
They got one.
Well, they're not done yet. They are far from done yet. Kami gets it into the middle, and look at the positioning from Virtuoso, reading the TRK clear. I don't think TRK even spotted Virtuoso over there. They expected them to be in a bit more of a defensive position, but just like that second game, when James Cheese are down, they are changing it up to a little bit more of an aggressive stance. Late game 1, down by 1, a little bit more of an aggressive stance, and might not really be enough in this matchup, but these are all positive signs to go on with later in the tournament.
Realize, looking to try and add another one. They can get that soon. As you can see in the background, Kami's just chasing Ahmad.
Yeah, you've got to really make Falcons as uncomfortable as you can. They've really just got to send everything here. Time's gotten away from them. I think Khaled's got a good read on Kami there. He's on 0 boost. The shot from Realize goes high, and the follow-up from there from Virtuoso is there again. Well, James Cheese, 2 games now, and this is both from midfield play this time. Scoring 2 against Falcons 3. Still down, and now they've done it without a kickoff goal.
So James Cheese can't play in the opening minute, but play really well in the last one. Okay, interesting. Well, they've got 25 seconds now to try and find the ball and find another goal.
Look at this, though. This is a really good chance. Virtuoso looking to drop down. Realize running out of
time.
And he's coming in. You know, Falcons probably didn't expect this. They were pre-jumping a minute ago, and now the net is open. That was actually a free shot.
Kami in. Can't get any further with it. Realize has to die for this one. They need this ball up in the air. That's a passing option gone. Virtuoso, got to keep the ball alive. It's getting away from him. That's still been left up. Falcons actually helped out with it.
Yeah, I think Falcons are afraid to let that bounce just in case it stayed in the air. Instead, they wanted to take it themselves, and it does prove out to be a successful strategy. The sweep is complete, but all 3 games were only a 1-goal difference. You know, James Cheese, they've lost 6 games today, but no one expected these scorelines.
Remind me the second tiebreaker of this. It's if we've got 2 teams on 0-6, what's then the first thing?
Seeding. So they're going to get. They're going to get.
I was hoping it was goal difference.
No, they're going to get. They're going to get the worst one. That's why I'm saying they need a game, because they're right now they're going to be the 16th seed in the next round as well. When the 0-2 round tomorrow commences, they will be against the team with the best record, who are also on 0-2. That could be a team who are also 0-6. It could be, but it's not ideal for them. They've made this difficult because they just could not get one game despite the best efforts. But hey, pretty heroic effort there.
That was entertaining.
Down 3-0, and they're still fighting for it, still creating chances. They really made Falcons.
They went 4 games without scoring a goal, and then in 2 games they scored 4 against Team Falcons.
Yeah,
that's a weird time to pick it.
I think they could win a series here. They really could, because they kind of came in here with very low expectations. They're just, you know, trying to get as much experience as they can. And some other teams that are going to be in that 0-2 round would have had higher expectations. They're going to be much more upset that they're in that position. That's the team. That's the kind of mentality and a position that James Cheese could actually win in. I'm not joking when I say this team can win tomorrow.
So, if you're Falcons on this one, how do you feel about this series? Because you have got a loss against Space Station. You would have felt like they would have made these games a little bit more comfortable for themselves. Do you feel like these games in particular do anything for them, or any sort of thought in their minds moving forward? Or are they just going to look at their current position and go, yeah, it's fine?
They're probably not going to be happy with that, to be honest, because they probably expected to win this more comfortably. They have won more comfortably against OCE competition in the past, so the fact that APAC have held them to 1-goal games. I don't think they're going to be happy with how disciplined they were when they were winning by 3. I think they were a bit too giving away goals a bit too easily. That's the biggest takeaway for me from Falcons. They've got to be a more disciplined team on a 3-0 lead. None of these risks are necessary. But overall for today, good result for them. They're going to be comfortably in the top half.
And if we thought it was going to make it any easier for you, unfortunately that is not the case, because let's have a look at what is going to be next up. We have got Power against G2 Esports.